What up, YouTube? It's your boy, BioSpider 3.0, keeping the action going with another review. Today we're having a look at the Mattel Movie Masters General Zod figure from Man of Steel, the movie. What's going on, y'all? I told y'all I'm coming heavy with the reviews, man. Got a lot of figures to look at, so today we're having another look at a different figure. 7 or 7 p.m. I should say, reviews again. I'm shooting this around 7 o'clock. So again, like that last review. So as you can see, I've got the inside lights on again. This is a natural light, obviously, but just wanted to put that out there at the start of the review. As you can see, I've already got this guy unpackaged. I do have the packaging, and I'll show you that in just a second. I didn't exactly open it as well as I would have liked. I wish I would have kept it a little bit nicer. So, like when I opened the Superman figure that I got, I kept that packaging, pretty nice. But for this guy, not so much. But I'll show you all that in just a sec. Matter of fact, I'll show you right now. So we'll get that out the way. Let me move General Zod aside here. Here is the Man of Steel. You can see that piece just fell back there in the background. It wasn't even really, holding on there. It was like a loose piece after I kind of ripped it apart from the plastic. But anyways, here is the plastic or packaging that he came in. General Zod, as you can see, Movie Masters at the bottom there, right there. Got a really nice, really cool. I love the way these boxes were designed for these figures. So you have the main Superman logo shape, kind of like right there. The almost like a trapezoid, not quite a trapezoid, but that shape that surrounds the S for Superman. And then you've got the actual Superman S like in the background there. That, as you can see, I kind of like ripped part of that off. Price tag is still on there, $11.99, man. I got this guy at Geeky Mamas. And I think by the time I picked him up, it was probably like my last day there. Like I said, everything was about like 50% off. So he was probably like even less than that. So, $12 plus tax. But, I got him for about half off. So he shouldn't have been, too much more than maybe $7-8. So, I was like, I got to get him. Because I always wanted to get this is the unarmored version, by the way, of General Zod. I already have the armored version. And I've always wanted to get the unarmored version, but couldn't really find him anywhere in the wild for like a good price. The secondary market, they were kind of selling this guy for prices that I didn't feel like he was worth. I felt like, it was a little too high. They're trying to sell him for like Marvel Legends prices. And not to say that the details and things on him aren't good, but I'm already, familiar with the articulation that they tend to put on these Movie Masters figures, and they're not all that. Like, they're not quite comparable to Marvel Legends, I would say, but it's still really good nonetheless, and I still wanted to pick him up. Definitely wanted him in my collection so I could have him posed up with Superman and, things like that. So, yeah, there's the front of the packaging. Look at the back. There's nothing really on the side. It's just kind of shows you the figure from the side, nothing else really there. But on the back, we do have a little read-up. It says, Man of Steel General Zod. Imprisoned in the Phantom Zone, General Zod, a warrior born from generations of warriors before him, escaped when Krypton was destroyed. He led a small band of surviving Kryptonians in search of a new home. In the process, they discovered a planet called Earth and a man once known as Kal-El. So there you go. We all know who that is, right? Mr. Superman, Clark Kent. It says, Movie Masters, with authentic detail, deluxe articulation, and supreme quality, the Movie Masters line offers fans the premium collecting experience. True to scale, these figures are expertly crafted to ensure the highest standards for your collection. So, I mean, when we get into size comparisons, we'll see, if all of that is true. But for the most part, I think that is, pretty accurate. I'm looking at, General Zod and Superman over here. He's like off to the side. It does look like General Zod is going to be a little bit taller than Superman, which I believe is accurate because Michael Shannon, the guy who plays General Zod in this movie, he seems like he's a pretty tall guy. I would guess he's at least like maybe 6'3", 6'4". He seems like a taller guy for sure. So there you go. And then you have some other figures that you can get in the line. You got Superman, which I already have. Jor-El, I really want a Jor-El. I never did pick up a Jor-El, so I really hope I get my hands on one eventually. And then we have this General Zod right here. And obviously the renders don't look, quite like how the actual figures tend, come out when they're finished, but you get the idea. I guess that's close enough for what they have on the box there. But yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at General Zod once again. So not too much to this guy. And matter of fact, I'll show you, as far as accessories, he only really comes with this right here, which is a stand that all the Movie Masters, figures, at least in this Man of Steel line, come with, more or less. He's got, this specific shape for the, I forget, this isn't the House of L, but whatever house that General Zod belongs to, I guess this is his, his logo or insignia for that house. And it's, ingrained and printed very nicely there on the stand. You got a single peg hole right there that you can use to help him stand up. And yeah, look at the back. And you can see, it's got some really nice texture, done into there. Looks very, very nice. Very well done. All the stands actually have that. So that's really, really cool. That kind of texture on top. Very, very nice. So you have that. And that's really his only accessory. So here is General Zod, as we can see again. And here's a look at the back of him real quick, just to show you. And, not too shabby. I mean, not a whole lot going on. I mean, he's mostly the same color with, you got, different, obviously, you have matte type of finishes for the majority of his suit. And then you have some gloss going down the sides for these like more kind of sleek armory type of parts, going down the suit and on the side here by his obliques and all that, and like the wrist guards and everything. So just a couple of like different finishes, but overall, he's mainly, one color. So that's pretty cool. That's movie accurate as far as I remember. So there you go. So we'll go ahead and jump into play and display. We won't waste any time here. This should be a relatively short review because, like I said, there's not too much to him. But yeah, so here we go. So for the head, now keep in mind this is a Movie Masters. This is a figure by Mattel. Mattel usually doesn't, at least for this line, this Movie Masters line, they don't tend to give their figures a lot of head articulation. So he's probably not gonna have comparable range to Marvel Legends and things like that. It's gonna be somewhat limited. So going up, yeah, I feel like going up honestly suffers the most when it comes to these Movie Masters figures. I remember Superman's head didn't go up very far either. His head pretty much virtually doesn't go up at all. I mean, it kind of just clicks back into place. And for some reason, they seem to have made his neck like really, really thick. I'm not sure why that is. He's got like a really thick neck, I'm not quite sure why that is. I don't think his neck is actually that thick in the movie. But yeah, you do have kind of a thick neck for General Zod here. So you can't really lift his head up too far. I mean, it really just kind of springs back into place. Yeah, it doesn't move up much. Going down, if you really force it, you can kind of get him looking down a little more, bringing his chin closer to his neck there. So, I mean, not too bad. Definitely better than going up. And then, he can look to the side, all the way to the side. That's actually a pretty good profile. That actually definitely looks like Michael Shannon from right there. Going from this side, kind of the same thing. And I notice he's got like this little, I don't know if that's like a bump or something on his face. You guys can see that little bump right there, right? If I bring him in a little closer here, you see what I'm talking about, that little bump on the side of his face. I'm not sure if that's accurate. I don't know if Michael Shannon actually has that, but if he does, that's pretty cool that they, included that detail in there. I think that's pretty cool. Nice touch. The face sculpt is, not bad. It's actually, I thought it was going to be the exact same pretty much as the armored version, but it is actually different. So I'll show you guys that at the end when I do, size comparisons, but it is actually like a different head sculpt. So that's kind of cool that they changed it up. even though I don't really see. I mean, I get why, because that armored version does have like more facial hair on that armored version, but it's just kind of interesting that they decided to do a all new sculpt. It seems like for this version. So there is that. Let's see. So yeah, that's pretty much his head movement. I mean, you can let's see. Can he go all the way around? Yeah, he can technically rotate all the way around. So that's cool, but it's just going up definitely suffers the most. He's not able to look up very far at all. From the arms, he's on a ball and hinge. It's going to allow him to raise his arm a little better than 90 there, so that's nice. Going up and out to the side, back down. He does have a full rotation, full 360 rotation in the arm. He has a nice bicep swivel cut at the top there. You can see at the top, that shoulder joint, he does have a bicep swivel in there, which is looking good. He's got a single jointed elbow, but he's still able to get 90 degrees, or almost 90 degrees, 90 degree bend. So I think that's pretty good. That's all right. That's all right. The hands for these, Movie Masters figures, they're able to swivel, and that's about it. They can rotate all the way around, but the fingers are kind of like, molded into the hand. Like he's got the fist, right? But you can't really uncurl his fingers at all because it's molded, into the rest of the plastic of his hand. So they're pretty much stationary, but you can rotate them. You can rotate his fist all the way around like that. All right, and he doesn't have an ab crunch or anything, but I don't mind too much because that was the same thing that they did with the Superman figures, and I actually do like the overall sculpt for the torso of these guys, like the abs and the chest. I think is pretty nicely sculpted, well defined and superhero proportions. So I don't think it's too much of a bad thing. So like bending forward, he doesn't have an ab crunch, so you would just kind of have to push him like that all the way, like he's basically trying to just, bend over straight down, like he's not really crunching at the abs. So you can get him to go over that far when you kind of utilize this, this hip joint, down here that obviously allows for, the front and back motion. You push it back, try to keep the leg straight, and he's able to go from that hip joint, he's able to go back about that far, which isn't much, again, because he doesn't have an ab crunch, but yeah. So that's kind of like the range there. You do have a cut at the waist though, so he does have a waist swivel, as you can see there. Hopefully you can see. Hopefully I'm not blocking too much light, but he does have a waist swivel in there. Nice little gold paint for the belt piece right there. For the legs, he can go out to the side. These are kind of like those DC style hips, so they're cut kind of, ugly and awkward, kind of like that weird, almost like a right angle for the cut for the legs, but you can get them going out pretty well to the side, just about a full split, so that's not bad at all. Coming back down, he can kick up, not great, and that's the way that they sculpted his leg, because his upper leg is so thick, it kind of runs into this upper part, at the hip, so he's not able to get his leg up too far. Superman kind of suffered from that same problem, but I guess it's not too bad. Okay, let's be honest, it is kind of bad, but it is what it is. You can't, like I said, these guys definitely don't have Marvel Legends level of articulation, so that's just something that you have to go in knowing when you get one of these figures. I think he has a lower thigh cut there, so not, Marvel Legends and stuff, they're usually like up here. It's usually an upper thigh cut. This one's a little bit lower, closer to the knee, but you can get some rotation at that lower part of the thigh. So you got that a little tight there. And then you have a single jointed knee that allows him to get about a 90 degrees going backwards. Comes back down, no boot swivel or anything, but the feet are on a hinge, so he can get his foot to hinge. Let's see here. Only about that far, so definitely not Marvel Legends again. Definitely not, tippy toe level. And then going up, he gets about that much, which is a little better. Definitely gets more range going up there. So yeah, and then going backwards, Let's see. Again, not too great, but I would say it's actually comparable to some of the more recent Marvel Legends from Hasbro, because they haven't had the greatest range going back in a while. So, yeah, not too bad. Definitely, runs into the Sculpt back here. So you don't get a whole lot of range or anything going backwards, but you do get that much. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it as far as his articulation. His arms being on a hinge, you can obviously manipulate the shoulder joint, the ball of the shoulder. You can kind of manipulate that joint and get his arms coming in a little bit more. Sorry, I got something on my finger. And then kind of going back a little bit more, you just kind of have to, line that joint up so that you can see the hinge and, know what direction that it's going to go in. So if you want it going forward or back, you can do that. But obviously, he doesn't have a butterfly joint or anything, so he's not going to get crazy range going forward or back. So that's just something to note. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as his articulation goes. So yeah, like I said, not a whole lot to this guy. He's more, at least for me, I guess I wanted him more for the aesthetic, because I do like the overall sculpt and detail that they put into this figure, even though his articulation isn't that great. I do think that his sculpt and detail makes up for it. So again, really, really nice. The all black suit, I like it a lot. I like that you've got all these, all this texture in here that you can see, all that kind of like pretty much the same texture that they put in the stand is kind of like, imbued through his suit. So you can see all that as I bring him a little bit closer here, get some focus on that. And you can see like all that sculpted textures throughout his suit and even the logo on his chest. I would say all that looks pretty freaking good, Like that a lot. It's pretty much all through there. And again, like I said, you have those more glossy parts kind of going down his legs and surrounding like the boots on the sides there on the obliques and, parts of his back, like especially the lower back here. You can see all that kind of like tubing and stuff going through his back. All that looks really good. And I really like, the musculature, the sculpt of the back muscles looks pretty good. Nice and organic. Very like a human back, so that looks pretty good to me. And another thing I want to note about these Movie Masters figures is that, unfortunately, a lot of the necks tend to have this ugly like line, this like seam going down the side. I guess I don't know why it's like that. Like I guess when they're trying to connect, I guess these are like two separate pieces. So you have like the front piece of the neck and then the back. And when they go to connect them, there's always like a ugly line on the side right there, which definitely is an eyesore. But if you don't look at it from the side, it's not too bad. But man, when you do see it from the side, it's like, damn, that's that's like pretty much all you can focus on. It's just kind of sticking out like a sore thumb. But yeah, man. So that's pretty much it. That's General Zod. Like I said, not a whole lot to him, but still a really cool figure. Dope. Definitely glad to have him in my collection because, like I said, I already have that armored version, and I always wanted the just regular, suit version, the Kryptonian suit that he battles, Superman in at the end of the movie. So I always wanted that kind of like look in figure form for him, and I'm very glad that I do have him now. So yeah, man, I mean, that's pretty much General Zod. If you want to see like a close-up of his face sculpt, like I said, I think it has a decent likeness to Michael Shannon, definitely maybe not 100%, but especially from certain angles, I feel like it really looks like him, especially from like the side and the profiles and stuff. Like from certain angles, it really looks like him. Maybe not so much when you're looking dead on, but I think it's for the time being. I mean, this figure probably came out around the same time that Man of Steel did, which was like 2013. So that's like a decade ago. So for a figure that came out that long ago, I would say it's definitely not too bad of a face sculpt. Let's see. Yep, 2013 says right here on the bottom of the box. That's when Man of Steel came out. So, and I still remember when Man of Steel came out, man. I was hyped for that movie. It was, it was like my sophomore year of high school, um, or like maybe like the end, yeah, like the end of sophomore year, maybe going into junior year. But no, I take that back. 2013, that would have been 2013. Yeah, that probably would have been either the start of my senior year, I think. Let's see. Yeah, that should have been the start of my senior year because I graduated 2014. So yeah, just some random facts about me now, you know. But yeah, so yeah, that movie came out like around my senior year, and I remember being in track practice, and my friend John and I were just, you know, talking about that trailer and how hyped we were for it, and you know, all those good times, man. We were some nerds, but we had a lot of fun in track, and we would talk about, you know, movies and like the scores from like Hans Zimmer that they use for those movies. Like, oh man, that was just a different time, man. I miss those days. But anyways. I'm rambling. There is my review on General Zod, the unarmored version from Mattel, the movie Masters line. So let's go ahead and get them with some size comparisons, and we will call this video good. All right. So let's get him with his movie counterparts first and foremost. So we'll get him with the Movie Masters Feora right here. All right. So this is Feora, another one of Superman's adversaries in the movie. And then we have Superman, of course, red and blue soups. Let's see if I can squeeze them all in here. Let's see, back this up just a little bit. Okay, there you go. You get a pretty good sense of them all in the camera there now. And you can see General Zod does appear to be like the tallest between the three of them, which is definitely accurate. I would say he's definitely like the tallest one out of like all the people in that movie besides what was it, Malik or not Malik? Whatever that big Kryptonian thing that Superman was fighting in Smallville, that thing that he like threw into a train and all that, whatever his name is. I think he was like the biggest, I guess, person or thing that Superman fought in that movie. But you know, General Zod should be the second tallest, I would say. Feora in the camera, she probably looks like she's almost the same height as General Zod, which I guess she kind of is. But in person, you can tell that she's actually like quite a bit shorter. She's shorter than him and Superman, which she should be. So there is that. But there's the three of them. So you got three Kryptonians right there. One good, two evil. All right. Who else? So here now I'll show you the comparison with the armored General Zod. So here's the armored version of him. And you can actually see their head sculpts are actually different. So I'll bring him in closer so you can really see again. And here's the armored General Zod from the same line, the Movie Masters line. And you can clearly see that the head sculpts are different. It's hard to say exactly which one looks more like Michael Shannon. I think it's just kind of two different looks for him. I feel like the armored version looks like an older version of him, you know, because of the facial hair. And I feel like, you know, his face looks a little more slender on the armored version. So I don't know. It's just like two kind of different takes. Like I feel like even the noses are a little bit different. And but yeah, I mean, they're both based off the same character. So there's your, you know, comparison in case you wanted to see those guys side by side. They definitely do have different head sculpts. So there is that. Let's get him next to the black suit Superman from the same line, Movie Masters. Black suit Superman with the red eyes. Looking really dope with Zod right here. Now you've got the two of them. Let's back them up so you can see full body again. So put them about right there. And there you have the two of them. Looking very, very nicely juxtapositioned with each other. So there you go. Let's get him with a Batman. We've got the New 52 All-Stars Batman from DC Universe Classics. So here you go. It's been a while since we've seen this guy, right? I should have pulled him out in some more size comparisons, but you can see Batman is actually a little bigger than General Zod there. He's taller and definitely a bit wider. You know, he's a buffer character there. So but I still really like how this looks. So there you have those two. Putting Batman aside, next we have, let's see, we'll get him with a Star Wars character. We've got Darth Rey from The Rise of Skywalker with her two lightsabers. I split them. She usually connects them, but I decided to split them for this. And you can see there that he definitely has a little bit of height on her. As she falls over, but not too bad, right? And let's see, we'll get him next to the Battle Android Trooper from the review from the other day. You can see Battle Android Trooper has a little bit of height on General Zod there, which I think is appropriate. It's hard to say, you know, two very different characters, different universes, never really seen them side by side, but I think that looks all right. So he's definitely got some height on Zod there. Next, we'll put him with the, gotta get some more color in here. So we'll get the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man from Toy Biz, based off of Spider-Man 1, the Spider-Man 1 movie. Make sure he's standing straight here. And you can see he's just a little bit shorter than Zod. It probably doesn't look like it on camera, but he actually is a little bit shorter than Zod here. So it's kind of hard to show that, I guess, from the angle that they're at. But he actually, I feel like on camera he looks like he's maybe taller than Zod, but he's actually shorter, all right? So take my word for that. He is a little bit shorter there. Moving him aside, who else? Let's get him with Miles Morales from Mafex Into the Spider-Verse. We got Miles Morales here. All right, so you can see he's definitely a little bit shorter than Zod, as he should be. He's a kid. And last but not least, we'll get him with Thanos, in-game Thanos, by ZD Toys. So move him up just a bit here. Thanos is huge, so he towers over General Zod accordingly. And there you go. So there's in-game Thanos from ZD Toys over the Mattel Movie Masters General Zod, unarmored. And there you have it. That's gonna do it, I guess, for size comparisons. All right, I'll squeeze in two more real quick. So here we have, I can never help myself. So here we go. We've got Blue Dino Thunder right here from the Lightning Collection. And then real quick on the other side of him, I will get the Mark I Armored Spider-Man from Hasbro. So there you go. Try to squeeze all three in the shot here. And there you go. Zod is, I would still say, the tallest. He's just slightly, ever so slightly taller than the Blue Dino Thunder Ranger. It probably doesn't look like it from this angle, but he actually is just a hair taller than him. And definitely has a little bit of height over the Mark I Armored Spider-Man. So there you go. And that's my review, guys. I'm talking about it's supposed to be brief. It's still almost 30 minutes like the last one, but there it is, guys. That is gonna be my review on the Mattel Movie Masters General Zod figure from Man of Steel. This is the unarmored version. Hope you enjoyed the review. Hopefully those size comparisons helped you out. If you're thinking about, you know, combining him or throwing him in with some other lines. And yeah, a lot more figures to review and things to add to the channel. So stay tuned for all of that. Again, appreciate everybody for subscribing, liking and sharing, leaving comments on the videos. Always means a lot to me. Thank you guys so much for, you know, taking time out of your days to watch these videos, because I love making them, man. I love toys. This is my thing. So hopefully it's your thing too, and we can, you know, do our thing together. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, appreciate y'all. It's your boy BioSpider 3.0, and I'll see you in the next review. Peace. Where did you get your powers? On a farm?